Why am I here today? Why am I not chained to my desk as I am every other day, every other video that I do? Is because I was thinking about ambience, and I know, shocker, I'm here at this sort of local dense jungle. Normally, volumes are really binary. We're sort of either in that biome or in this biome, and that's not the way that real life works. That's something that's come out of games not because of that's how the real world works, but just out of functionality and performance and being able to actually do it. In reality, as I walk up this hill and get to the top of the jungle, I am not just leaving one volume and entering another, but I'm kind of crossfading between them.
What are the regular approaches here? Well, mostly what people will tend to do is ambiences either in one of two ways. You'll either make them from a collection of sounds, like you might see a whole bunch of singular audio components that kind of play, and then they might have really, really large attenuations to try and cover these distances. And that can work from some perspectives, but if you have really large attenuations, you start running into problems like occlusion, where maybe on the inside of a building, I don't want that ambience, and then all of a sudden I've got to sort of enable occlusion, which has a perf hit, or I could tweak the ambience or remove the attenuation. Specifically, this probably happens as a bigger problem when you take into account internal spaces. The Electric Dreams demo itself, being in like almost an entirely outside world, probably doesn't get hit with that this badly, but most environments you will want sounds that you don't hear in certain places. The fix for that is to move to a volume-based approach, where you might have, instead of a single ambient or many ambient emitters, you may have something like a volume, and inside the volume you play sounds, and outside the volume you do not play those sounds. This is a pretty common with audio gameplay volumes. However, the problem there is that as you're walking to the exit, or as you're exiting the space, you kind of have all the sounds and then none of the sounds. And again, probably the approach would be something like override attenuation, but then turn off spatialization, but then it becomes really, really complex. In SweejTech Ambience, we have a system where we have blend parameters or blend weights based on the volume you're in. So you can see here, when I'm not in any volume, I'm in the global volume container. And as I sort of swoop down into a spot, you'll see I start getting crossfaded river blend and the global, because I want the global to sort of be there unless you're far enough into another region. And as I start sort of going through my space, flying through, you see all sorts of numbers changing from the riverbed to the light to the trench to the cave, and that's due to our Sweej ambience volumes. When we look at our Sweej ambience volumes, they have an attenuation distance, which is going to be the crossfade distance when inside the volume versus outside the volume, so that you can start hearing the distance and hearing these blends while you're moving between spaces, which really mirrors that real life example of being near the lake and needing to hear parts of the lake, but then sort of less and less of it as you go up, as opposed to that binary approach of all lake, no crossfade, no transition.
I don't know about you, but I spend a lot of time waiting for just stuff in games to happen. I spend time waiting for compiling shaders and pulling down content and getting updates and building the editor and trying to just run the damn game. That if I could cut that time down, it would really, really benefit me. When you hit play and then you've got to wait 50 to 60 seconds just to get into the thing that you were testing, it's actually hard to stay focused and stay on the problem at hand. SweejTech's solution to this is kind of ingenious.
So we're back in the studio. We're going to be checking out what this feature actually looks like. If I click this little cog up here and I turn my level editor volume up, the really, really exciting thing happens where I've got my runtime sound, but in the editor, I don't need to play the game. I don't need to find my camera position and wait through loading screens and get game crashes and all the rest of it. I can just focus on starting to make the sounds that I'm really keen on. This is also where this really, really gets impressive, is that it works for the ambience inspector and the scatter spot inspector. So I'll get scatter spots playing and ambience playing, and it'll even tell me what area I'm in. At the moment, I'm in global because I'm a million miles from anywhere. But as I start to fly in, I'll start to get the elements from the Swede ambience volume that I'm in and the scatter spots playing. This way I can just stay in here. I don't need to keep rerunning the game and waiting for shaders to compile and all that nonsense. I can instead just kind of fly around and say, oh, I wonder how the riverbed's feeling. And if I've got volumes, which I picked a riverbed without volumes, but if I want to hear a cave, I can kind of fly in the cave, hear what the cave sounds like. And as I sort of move through the world, you'll see my weight changing a little bit, and that's just blending between this riverbed light and the regular riverbed, and showing me the resulting level of that. And it's showing me the scatter spots that are playing, which ones are sort of firing, whether I can hear them right now, or whether they're how far away they are, and all the rest of it. And it's really, really powerful for all those reasons, because now I can just edit while I'm running the editor, not the game, which is, if you're in games, distinctly a different exercise altogether. Great, it works. I'm using Unreal. I need a solution. It's an ambient solution that's scalable, performant, easy to use. What's not to love? Well, I would say to find out more, join the SweejTech developer Discord. Its link will be in the description below. You can chat to the SweejTech developers. You'll be able to ask some questions, work out licensing agreements, and just get in contact with some really cool people doing really cool things. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.